All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to another Short Shifts episode with myself, Elon, and Lewis Ezekiel. I'm jumping back and forth between the Short Shifts hosts. Had a fun time with Ben. Now I'm back with Lewis. How's it going, man?
Really good. Yeah, I mean, so much to talk about. It's a crazy night, tons of action, more games tonight basically than we've had the whole rest of the season combined. Oh my gosh. It's going to be tough to fit it all into a reasonably a reasonable length of time here.
I know, so we'll do our best. I don't know. I guess we don't have a boss, right? Like, I guess theoretically we can go as long as we want, but I guess yeah, the whole point is to be quick. So let's just. The thing is, the last short shifts, Ben loves. I don't know if you know this. Have you noticed from your recordings with Ben? He really loves to disagree and debate about different things. So I think that made our show go long, which I think is interesting and like fun. But I guess
Yeah, it's definitely better than just, oh yeah, I totally agree. You're spot on. Yeah, well, Ben
but
loves to, yeah, he does love to argue.
but at the same time, I guess that's maybe not so conducive to a short show because I guess like a short show would just be like say thing, move on to the next thing. So we'll find our groove. Maybe you and I have a different groove than me and Ben. I feel like for us we can have more topics because we won't have as many arguments.
Yeah, certainly no time for performative arguing.
Oh yeah, that's to play devil's advocate, Lewis. don't you think?
Hour two of short shifts.
All right, so I guess. Oh, we got some people here. Fantasy tidbits. Hello, Mathieu. Matt, we need to. I'll just say quickly, Matt. I don't know if we should drop White Cloud just because we're kind of short on D, and we could use him for the next couple of weeks, like for his hits and blocks. So
yeah, I streamed him there for a minute. I had him in for the last game for some periffs. He was okay. I liked it when he had that assist for a second.
Yeah, I know they took it away. That was such a bummer.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, we're all right. So Matt, we'll strategize soon as I'm done here with Lewis. I think we all right. So let's give her.
All right, you ready to launch this show here?
Should I mention that Cape Breton sucks, or is that like not a nice thing to say? I was asked to say that. I actually went there once and biked all around, and it was like beautiful. And isn't that where Ben is right now?
I don't
Matthew,
know.
why would you make me say that? I don't mean it. All right.
Somebody needs to be on Oliver Bjorkstrand hat trick watch because Dave predicted that would happen on Twitter this morning. And so if it actually happens, I'm going to be I have to shout him out. I promised I would.
I'll add Bjorkstrand to the bottom of my notes here.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Let's give her. Let's do the show.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Keeping Karlsson Short Shifts. I am your host, Lewis Ezekiel. Joining me this evening here on a Thursday, a very busy Thursday, is Elon Dubrovsky. Elon, how you doing, bud?
What's up, Lewis? Really excited to talk to you. I've been jumping back and forth between you and Ben doing the short shifts gambit, and we've got a big one tonight. We can't do any small talk because we have too many games to talk about, and we got to fit it all in a half an hour. So I'm ready to go, man.
All right, well, let's start with the biggest news of the day, and that is that just under the wire, Ottawa managed to get Brady Tkachuk signed at 7 years at $8.2 million. Ottawa drafters can breathe a sigh of relief. They're going to have him up there on that top line. He is not going to participate in Thursday's game, but he will be back in the lineup soon. Could be as early as Saturday and Sunday. No news yet here. But we'll certainly keep you posted as we find out, watch game day lines, all that good stuff, which of course you're doing already. Any thoughts on the impact of Tkachuk's return? Obviously, no one's like picking him up off the waiver wire, but what do you think?
Yeah, well, first of all, I guess anyone who was planning on boycotting the Sens this season can put down the pitchforks because Melnick actually did pay big money on a long-term contract, and I think he's going to be the heart and soul of the team for a long time, so it's great for the Sens. And as far as fantasy goes, I mean, it's going to be great for Batherson and Norris, who get to play. Nothing wrong with Jimmy Stu, who was playing on the top line today, but I guess, you want to have your best player there. It's going to help the power play. It's going to be good potentially for like a Shane Pinto, who gets Stützle now to fall to the second line, and Pinto, by the way, playing today for the Sens. So the Sens actually don't even need Brady Tkachuk according to what's going on right now. We're recording this on Thursday night, and we're just starting the third period, and Ottawa's up 3-0 against the Leafs. So things are looking pretty good for the Sens, including their goalie. So Matt Murray decided to be sick. I guess that's not a nice way to say it, but he misses so much time, and this season is no different to start it anyways. And Anton Forsberg got the start. As of now, I don't want to jinx anything, but he's made 25 saves and hasn't let in a goal yet. So I don't know if you're looking for a goalie in a deep league. This Anton Forsberg's having a really good start to the season against the Leafs.
Yeah, very nice outing for him. You and Brian and I are playing an underdog game today, and I picked the Leafs goalie, and I'm kind of disappointed with this outcome so far. Not going to do me a whole lot of good. I thought for sure backup goalie, no Brady Tkachuk. It's going to be easy pickings for me. Not looking so hot.
Yeah, Mrazek not having a good game, which is fine for me because I believe my cupful opponent, Jeremy, has Mrazek. So I'm happy about that if that is the case. I'm in a bunch of leagues. I think, though, that's the case. So speaking of surprise goalie starts, by the way, how about with Washington yesterday? I mean, with Forsberg playing, whatever, Murray's injured, so it's not that huge of a surprise. But how about the Capitals? Peter Laviolette decided to play Vitek Vanacek, even though Ilya Samsonov is fine. He just decided that Vanacek had a better preseason, and he gave him the season opener versus the Rangers. And apparently, this is the correct choice. Vanacek stopped 23 of 24 in the 5-1 win. So he had a great game. The Caps destroyed the Rangers. And I wonder if this is a sign that Samsonov is not the starting goalie that we expected him to be, right? Maybe at best we're looking at a 50-50 thing, or maybe Samsonov's lost the job. Obviously, it's like one game, so it's too early to speculate too much. But at the very least, we should point out 875 save percentage in 3 preseason games for Samsonov. Vanacek was better. I guess that's why Vanacek got the start. A good start now for Vanacek tells me that I would consider dropping Samsonov for another goalie option, depending on who's out there. Maybe even for Vanacek, but also maybe for some other goalie. Like I think definitely you should be scouring your wire if you have Ilya Samsonov and see if you have a better option out there.
Yeah, I don't want to overreact to just one game, but it should be a little bit of concern, certainly, that the coach saw fit to put him in. And it's not a back-to-back situation like we saw with the Rangers, where they put Georgiev out first so that they could have their home starter with Shesterkin. The Rangers did come out very, very flat, so that may have contributed as well. But certainly, you've got a good team playing in front of you that can dominate opponent the way the Caps did to the Rangers. That's going to make you look really good. So congratulations to Vanacek. And yeah, I would certainly watch that moving forward. Sorry.
I was going to mention some more Caps things now, or you could start it up if you want.
That was a very exciting game. Obviously, we had Ovi return kind of at the last second and put on a great performance. 5th overall now, all time in goals scored with 2 goals and 2 assists. Was one of those a shorty?
Yeah, he had a shorthanded assist at the end of the game, assisted by Evgeny Kuznetsov, who we already told you on the show. He's going to be playing with Ovi at even strength on the power play, and now apparently also shorthanded. So Kuz is going to be locked in with Ovi for the foreseeable future while Backstrom is still healing from his back injury, I believe it is. So Kuznetsov 3 assists on the night to go along with Ovi's 4 points. So yeah, I don't know. All I could say is we told you so on the last Keeping Karlsson. I literally said, I listened back to the clip. I said, Kuznetsov is going to have a big season. Book it. 3 points right off the bat. I got to say it, Lewis. So I'll also admit things I got wrong.
That shorty assist was great too, because he banked it off the back boards, kind of like the fast moving Joe Louis arena boards. They used to do that all the time for the shorty. And it was his first shorthanded goal in 12 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
He's just never out there for that kind of time. He plays so much, he logs so many minutes in other situations. Another really exciting development in that game was Hendrix Lapierre. Are you experienced? Lapierre is not, obviously, as he is up in the NHL here for the first time, but he lined up with Oshie and Sherry. Plus, he got some power play 2 time with Wilson, Eller, Ovi, and Schultz. Now, it's worth pointing out that line really got caved in at even strength, only 17% Corsi 4 there. So that is total shot attempts for each team. They were only driving 17% of the play there. So that's not great. I think it's exciting for Lapierre. What do you think? Is this fantasy relevant at all? I'm inclined to lean away from this and just say, exciting to get out there for the first game. But I need to see a lot more before I'm jumping on Hendrix Lapierre.
Well, I mean, you left out the best part is that he scored a goal in his first ever game. So that's kind of exciting. But of course, yeah, it's not the most amazing spot for him. And we'll see if he can keep it up. He's not someone I'm jumping on except for in the deepest of leagues. But hey, he's not a nobody, right? He was picked in the first round in 2020. And now he's getting deployment with Oshie, who also had himself a game. It's been one game for the Caps, so we'll have to wait and see. But, Lapierre isn't the only rookie to come in and score a goal in his first game. We've got like a whole list of them ready to go. So maybe we could name them and then at the end we could do a ranking.
All right. So also scoring goals among our rookies, we have Bowen Byram, Jacob Peterson for Dallas, Mason McTavish for the Ducks. Very exciting stuff. Sorry, how do you want to do?
Oh, shoot, I was muted. Sorry about that. Okay, I can go and talk about Byram for a little bit. We could just go back and forth between them. Yeah, Byram, of course, is sort of like the guy with the highest pedigree of all the names you've said, though actually Mason McTavish was picked third overall. So those are both very exciting players. Byram, of course, a little bit buried on Colorado just because of all the talent in front of him, but maybe he's just going to be good enough to have a fantasy relevant, not like, I guess, yeah, I love how people say fantasy relevant. I've almost found that to be a bit of a, I don't know, cliche a little bit at this point, but okay, I'm just going to start this whole thing over because that was like stupid. Okay. Yeah, Bowen Byram. Yeah, Bowen Byram, obviously like a big name, someone who was picked fourth overall that we've expect to have a huge pedigree. So it shouldn't be surprising that he's getting on the score sheet here in his first game of the season. Though he is on Colorado, probably the worst situation for a defenseman just because he's blocked behind so many other amazing players. But maybe right now with Devon Taves out, that's an extra opportunity for Byram. So he's someone that I would consider in leagues if you need D, though obviously he's going to, have to struggle to get that power play time. He'll get the PP2 every once in a while, but he's not going to beat Makar out for the top power play. But yeah, Byram is interesting. Mason McTavish, a third overall pick. I didn't even know Mason McTavish was going to play this year. I thought that it was just Ekland from this draft that was going to be playing. Then here comes McTavish, scores a goal in his first game for the Ducks.
Yeah, really cool. So he lined up with Lundestrom and Silverberg. So kind of a cool spot. Isaac Lundestrom, certainly an interesting person to keep a watch on and someone who's going to be valuable for the Ducks moving forward. Managed a goal and an assist, got 3 minutes on the power play. That's pretty solid. I was going to circle back to Brian, but I don't want to. Do we just want to wrap there and go talk about the next Ducks thing?
You could maybe mention Peterson. You could even just ask me like, who's this Peterson guy, or say something about him.
Well, I can talk about Peterson too. I know you wanted to end with.
Well, it's okay. I can circle back to McTavish.
I can do it.
Yeah.
The other rookie goal scorer from Thursday night is Jacob Peterson, who some people were kind of excited about. Another in the long line of people whose name starts with J.A. and ends with Son for Dallas. But he lined up with Joe Pavelski and Rupe Hintz so far. He's got a goal. So pretty cool stuff to see him come in and have some success too. I know a few people were streaming him in, which is great to see. So someone else, maybe to keep an eye on another potential rising star out there in Dallas.
Yeah. So right now he's obviously subbing in for Jason Robertson on that line while Robertson is injured. But apparently Peterson had a really good camp. I actually grabbed him in my Dynasty League, a super deep league where you shouldn't be able to find anyone who's going to be playing in the top 6 that's minors eligible with an entry-level contract. So I was very happy about that. But yeah, we were talking before also about Mason McTavish. Let's circle back to that Ducks game, who, by the way, who had this on their bingo card that John Gibson would be the goalie you'd want in this duel between him and Connor Hellebuck. Connor Hellebuck stunk. 4 goals against on 22 shots. Anyone who reached to draft him in the first round were like, oh man, I kind of wish I picked Ovi in that spot at this point. Meanwhile, John Gibson stopped 33 of 34 in the win. Obviously, we're not going to be recommending for anyone to be freaking out about Connor Hellebuck. Maybe the opposite. Maybe now's a good time. If you're in a league with a Hellebuck manager that happens to be the type that freaks out, you could always be like, oh, I'll take the guy off your hands. I'll throw someone over to you. I got a comparison for you, though. How about if you have Ilya Samsonov, who is, by the way, 93% rostered on Yahoo, and John Gibson is just sitting there in free agency at only 46% rosters. This is a very likely situation. Are you making that swap right now? Dump Samsonov, who might be in a tandem, grab Gibson, who's a sure starter and had a strong start to the season?
I'm going to go on the side of no way am I making the swap for Samsonov for Gibson. Listen, Gibson is a very talented goalie. I appreciate everything that he's trying to do out there for Anaheim, but I think it is silly to make so much you're making a big mountain out of this little molehill of the first game of the season. I am not worried enough about Samsonov to think that Gibson, who has been quite bad the last few years, is somebody that I want to make that swap to lose a goalie off of a good team like the Caps. Sorry.
I mean, I guess I don't want to turn this into an Elon Ben episode of Short Shifts, but I don't know. Don't forget that Samsonov has never really been the starter on Washington, right? Last year, Vanacek also got a bunch of games because Samsonov was sick, and obviously there's lots of good excuses for why Samsonov hasn't taken a hold of that starter's job, but it is a little concerning. But yeah, if you could wait, maybe here's the advice. Get Sims. I think grab Gibson if you can, maybe drop a forward. I don't know. Try to figure out a way to get him on your roster so you could have dibs because someone else is going to grab him soon. He's not going to stay at 46% rostered, I don't think. Also, Anaheim has that good schedule. They play on a lot of off-day games, which is really handy. If you have 2 goalie spots and you have 3 goalies, you might be able to still get all their games. And then, yeah, sure, hold on to Samsonov a bit longer. But I don't like these tandem goalies, Lewis. But anyways, okay.
No, I got you. I think it makes a ton. I understand where you're coming from, and certainly there's some worry, especially if they're going to be splitting things right down the middle. I totally understand where you're coming from, but I don't want to have, I don't think think we should be swinging wildly here in the early season. It's
Fair.
going to be a long season, longer than last year. I think we got to pace ourselves a little bit and not panic too early, because you don't want a mistake that's going to haunt you for the rest of your season here in week 1, right?
Yeah, no, I
So
hear you. By the
we
way,
gotta.
speaking of panic, I wonder if anyone's panicking about Trevor Zegras. We talked about Mason Mctavish scoring a goal in that game. Trevor Zegras, the rookie on Anaheim that everyone was a lot more excited about, he didn't really do anything.
Yeah, so Zegras he saw less than 10 minutes at even strength. He put up 2 shots, but no other stats of note. Maybe this is just the growing pain that owners are going to have to endure, right? He's getting into the league. He's kind of getting used to things. And I know it's tough to say that when you have Mason Mctavish, who is also just bursting into the league and having all this success early on. But, maybe it's just a matter of the bounces going his way in this first game. So I think it's another wait and see. He's going to get great deployment. I think that we got to be a little bit patient with Zegras. He got some nice power play time equal to Mctavish. So I think that's another one to put a pin in and just see where it goes. Because if you picked up Zegras if you picked him up to be a 60-point guy, he's not going to put up a point in every game. So let's give him a chance to at least get out there for one more and see if he can't, slowly earn that trust and start to see his minutes get a boost.
Yeah, it's always tricky at the start of the season. You've got like your players who you drafted, and if they don't have a good first couple of games, and especially if like they're not getting good deployment, like you said, less than 10 minutes for Zegras, and then you see people in your free agency just popping off, you get jittery. And if you're in a 1-year league, sometimes it does become justified to drop Trevor Zegras, who hasn't proven anything yet. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, let's give him 1 or 2 more games. Anaheim plays tomorrow, right? So you can at least see a Friday game, and then we could reassess maybe over the weekend. I assume you're going to say no, but it's maybe kind of tempting for some people even to drop Zegras for someone like a Danton Heinen, who just scored his second goal in 2 games today. Someone we mentioned on Keeping Karlsson that we were interested in for the very short term while he was on the top line with Jake Gensel. And yeah, he scored a goal in that game on that top line versus Tampa Bay. Also took 4 shots. Then today he's been bumped because Gensel is back, but he still managed to score a power play goal from the second power play, taking a lot of shots again. Is there a chance that Danton Heinen is someone that we're going to be mentioning on this show like more than this time and last time?
I mean, it's pretty interesting. We got to obviously wait and see what things look like when the 2 top centers get back. People are going to get pushed down the lineup when Crosby returns, and obviously Malkin is further off. But if he can hold on to that second line, even when Malkin gets back, that could be something that potentially could be quite interesting. I don't know how all that is going to shake out in terms of, what the lines are look like. So I don't want to guess too much, but he certainly does seem to be enjoying himself in Pittsburgh. And, really nice to see him be productive from power play too. Not something that we necessarily were expecting with as thin as the Penguins are right now towards the top of their lineup there. Some other interesting folks we could talk about over on the West Coast are Niels Hoglander and Oliver Ekman Larson. Both had some flashes for Vancouver during the Wednesday night slate. Hoglander, now he was down on line 3 and played on power play 2, only 30% of the power play time, but he definitely flashed some exciting skill. He set up both Vancouver goals. He took 4 shots. I really don't love him in that current deployment. And obviously Besser is coming back, so that kind of puts a ceiling on, how far he can move up the lineup. But definitely someone who, we've been watching for a couple of years now with some interest. So that's a guy that I've got my eye on and that I've watched listed in some places where he's available. Of course, he's against being cupful this week, so his very successful night. I was looking at kind of with a glare, but from a neutral standpoint, it's cool to see Hoglander get it together and have some success. OEL also. Elon, did we make too much of a contextless photo of a bag skate early in the preseason when we all decided that OEL was washed? He posted a power play goal, took 4 shots and delivered 3 hits. He got 24 minutes of ice time, including 4:28 on a good-looking second power play with Hoglander, Peterson, and Garland. I don't know, some people predicted that maybe he would have a bit of a resurgence now that he had a little bit more of a supporting cast in Vancouver and had gotten himself out of Arizona after all this time. Is this someone you're interested in looking at as maybe a 4th D?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with OEL is he doesn't even need to have a resurgence. Like last season, he had 24 points in 46 games. It's a 43-point pace. That's pretty good for a 4th D in a deepish league. And, if he can keep up getting this deployment, which it sounds like, I don't see why not. If he's going to play 20 plus minutes, like maybe all of a sudden OEL is getting a little bit better deployment than he was seeing in Arizona at the end there. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go crazy over OEL, but he's definitely not a nobody, right? I definitely like the start he had. 4 shots on goal also is nothing to sneeze sneeze at. So I like him a lot more actually than Hoglander, who had those 2 assists, but he was on a line with Matthew Highmore and Jason Dickinson. So I don't think he's going to be able to keep up that production. Like you said, Besser's coming back, so that deployment's probably only going to get worse. Though of course the Canucks could always shake things up. So he's someone to watch. But yeah, I definitely would be more interested in OEL than in Niels Hoglander moving forward. But yeah, interesting to see. Too bad they couldn't score any goals against the Oilers in that shootout, so they still lose game 1. But hey, pretty good for them to come back late in the third period to get the single standings point there against McDavid and the Oilers. I feel actually pretty, what's the word? Feel pretty
optimistic.
Oh no, fortunate. My opponent in the cupful has McDavid, only 2 assists. I'll take it. If he could just get 2 assists also on Saturday, no goals, that's fine with me. I feel like I'm getting out a little bit unscathed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I would be looking at OEL if I've got someone, like a peripherals guy down at the bottom of your defensive list, an Asa Lindell, a David Savard, are a couple guys that I have in some leagues where they're kind of there to put up some points just by blocking pucks and that sort of thing. And I think OEL's got a little more upside than those folks if he is available. So maybe someone who is worth taking a look at there.
Yeah, definitely.
How about you said the other day you couldn't swing a hockey stick without hitting a podcast that was talking about Tyler Johnson deployed up there on the top line in Chicago. But we saw that, that didn't last too long, right?
Yeah, that did not go well in the first game for Chicago versus Colorado. These new look lines, Colorado jumped out to an early lead, and Tyler Johnson was quickly bumped down the lineup by Colleton. So he ended up as a -3 on the night. He had 4 PIMs, so I'm sure they didn't like those penalties. Just no shots. So just like anyone who added him and was excited about him, not excited at all. Henrik Borgstrom took over on the top line. So I'm sure a lot of people are panic dropping Tyler Johnson, and maybe in some leagues it's worthwhile to do that depending on who you're dropping him for. Though it is worth pointing out that Coach Colleton did an interview after the game, and he said that he's planning on going back to the old lines for their next game on Friday versus New Jersey. And you know what? New Jersey, I think they're going to be a decent team, but they're not as good as Colorado. They're even not as good as a McKinnon-less Colorado like they were in the last game. So I still think there's a chance that Tyler Johnson can click. Like, it's just such good line mates, right? If you're playing with Kane and DeBrincat, it's going to go well. Obviously, Chicago just couldn't keep it together against the Avs, but we'll see what happens. So if like Tyler Johnson was dropped in your league and you could stream him in for Friday's game versus New Jersey, I'd give him another shot because, at the end of the day, it's one game, and we were excited all preseason, and yeah, he had a bad game, but let's see if he can hold that spot and see what he can do.
Yeah, I think our fantasy managers should be taking a page out of Jeremy Colleton's book and saying, okay, look, maybe those first couple nights didn't go the way we wanted, but that doesn't mean we're going to jettison the whole roster and throw everything into a blender. These are things that we worked on. Going into Colorado is never easy. And they had some nice opportunities that Darcy Kemper managed to turn away. So they weren't totally out of that game the way the scoreboard sort of made it look. Kemper had some very nice play there. So, I don't think they should have expected to win that game. And, they didn't, obviously. I don't think they need to completely go back to the drawing board just because of that one rough outing.
Yeah,
another person who is getting some interesting top line deployment, although not the same power play deployment that Tyler Johnson was supposedly going to get, is Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Seems like they are trying to make the $6 million man make a little bit more sense for the offer sheet that they tendered to him. Hasn't produced anything as of this recording, but definitely something to maybe keep an eye on to see if he keeps up on that top line with Aho and Natchez. So just one more player to kind of add to your watch list there and potentially keep an eye on. It would be cool if he could be productive instead of just sort of being this thing that we're sort of making fun of on occasion.
Yeah, well, I mean, so far we're 2 periods in this game versus the Islanders. Carolina's up 4-3, and Kotkaniemi, sure, he's on the top line, but he's -1, has no shots, just a couple hits. Yeah, there you go. 2 hits is your stat sheet. So we'll see how long this lasts. Another top line guy, by the way, I wanted to bring up was Nazem Kadri, who was a temporary top line guy in that game for Colorado, and he had himself a great game, right? 1 goal and 1 assist, 5 shots on goal. Both of those points came at even strength, playing with Landeskog and Rantanen, which is a nice place to be while McKinnon is out. But not to take away from Kadri, but those line mates probably helped him have that success, helped him have that successful night, and he's probably going to be going back. Oh, he's almost definitely going to be going back to playing with Burakovsky and Nichushkin once McKinnon is back. And actually, in the next game, Landeskog is going to be out as well because he's suspended for a couple of games. But yeah, I wonder if, again, like it's so early, so I don't know what you can pull off in your league. So I'm just throwing some things out there, throwing stuff at the wall. But if you can try to trade Nazem Kadri right now, especially if he has, like, let's say, another good game in his next outing, and maybe the other managers are just kind of like forgetting or not realizing that McKinnon is going to come back and Kadri's not going to have that sweet deployment for long, now might be a good sell high time. Like here's I'll just throw a random name because I always like to throw something out. Like Ryan Nugent Hopkins was pointless in his first game. Maybe you could find someone who would accept a Kadri for RNH trade, and I would definitely do that and take RNH. But obviously, also at the same time, Kadri's not nothing, and so if you drafted him, feel good about yourself, but also don't expect this amazing deployment and production to hold for the whole season.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, maybe make a move on that sooner rather than later, since Landeskog is going to be out suspended for 2 games for boarding Kirby Dach. So keep it together there, bud. We don't want to see you suspended any more than you need to be. That top line is getting decimated. We're going to have, Ranson all by his lonesome there, more or less. Sorry. What else do we have? Craig Anderson and
let's go to Buffalo. That game is crazy right now.
Crazy.
Like Buffalo is destroying Montreal 5-1.
Oh wow, that's brutal. Oh yeah, I'm seeing it now. Jeez.
Yeah, so maybe you could like head on over, just be like, head over to Buffalo. Yeah. How is this crazy result? Or something like
that.
All
right, so let's jump over to Buffalo. We've got a wild one going on. Obviously, things could change. There's still half a period left, but anybody who jumped on Sam Montembeault thinking that this was going to be a great opportunity to get an easy win over a really bad team, it's not looking so hot as Buffalo leads 5-1 over Montreal. Not a great look, obviously. You wish you had Carey Price there, so maybe this would be Jake Allen making the start. But yeah, a rough outing for Sam Montembeault. Another one that's not looking so good, although no one should probably be surprised by this, but Columbus has come out firing on all cylinders. And leads a 6-1 over Columbus. So anybody who had Carter Hutton, I won't name names, but I know a certain host who shares a podcast feed with us got convinced to pick him up, and that is looking like a grim choice here tonight.
Yeah, I think that's Vejmelka back up on Arizona is going to be getting a game before too long if he hasn't already gotten in today, 6-1. And then, yeah, Montembeault having this crappy game against Buffalo. And yeah, we could blame it a bit on Montembeault, but also, hey, Buffalo, I don't know. Let's not get too crazy, but it's surprising that they're able to score 5 goals. And the one goalie that we talked about as not being of much interest that is playing well out of, Carter Hutton, Montembeault, and Craig Anderson. It's Craig Anderson who's actually having himself a night, right? He's stopped 25 of 26 so far. Like you said, there's still half a period to go, but obviously maybe not every game will be against a Habs team that is struggling. But this Craig Anderson, he's not done yet. And he didn't play much last year, but he got in a playoff game and he still looks strong. So yeah, he's 40 years old, but clearly he's still got a little bit of game left. So if you're in one of your like super deep leagues, here's a crazy one for you, Lewis. Here's a crazy one for you, Lewis. Who'd you rather have, Craig Anderson or Anton Forsberg? If you need a goalie, you're desperate for a goalie in a league where there's no one available except for those two guys.
I think I will take Forsberg. Reinforcements are on the way. Maybe he can, play his way into a few more starts while you're having Matt Murray, on the recovery. Matt Murray has not been, all that spectacular himself. So maybe he can work his way into like a 1A, 1B type situation on a sort of okay Ottawa team. I guess that's the way I'm leaning right now.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. And I should point out, I might have to eat a little crow because Jeff Skinner, 2 assists so far today. I'm not going to get too crazy because this is against Sam Montembeault who's struggling, but I did say on our Discord that to people who are excited about a Jeff Skinner resurgence, I was like, I'll believe it when I see it, and sort of was poo-pooing it. But so far, good game for him. All right, let's finish off in Columbus. You were bringing up that Columbus-Arizona massacre. It's now 7-1 for Columbus. I'm going to assume as I bring up the box score now, Carter Hutton's been in for all 7 goals against. Wow, anyone who streamed in Hutton is eating it right now. That's a shame. But apparently one of our Keeping Karlsson co-hosts made a prediction that's looking like it might be right.
Sorry, one more time. I got distracted because I saw a goalie injury.
Oh, who is it?
I saw, Holtby is heading to the locker room, apparently, in the Dallas and Rangers game. And then at the end of the second period, God, who was it? Maybe somebody can help us out in the chat here. I saw it go through, and then I didn't save it, and now I'm not sure where it went.
Okay, well, yeah, someone in the chat
That's
can
not
let us
very
know who else
useful.
is injured.
Yeah, was there another goalie who got hurt? Please tell us.
Oh, wasn't it Mrazek got hurt?
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Mrazek
what I
got
saw.
hurt.
Yeah. All right, so here to answer the let's answer the question about what I just asked. I just basically was like, is there another player? Is there a Keeping Karlsson co-host who made a prediction for a player in this Columbus game that's looking like it might be correct? Because you wanted to mention this Bjorkstrand watch, so you could you could say
Yep, yep.
that. Then we'll end the show talking about these two goalie injuries.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely we want to give Davey B some credit here. He was on Twitter
Wait,
saying
actually,
that.
can you go again? You like banged on something as you started talking there.
Okay. Yeah, I want to give some credit to Dave Betton because on Twitter today he said that Elon and I would be talking about a Oliver Bjorkstrand hat trick. It didn't come all the way true quite yet, but he's getting there. He got 2 of those 7 goals, so pretty cool. Nice work there from Bjorkstrand. So very excited to see him get back to putting together some quality work. He had kind of a rough outing with a weak supporting cast, and maybe now that things are improved a little bit, if people find their feet, he could have a really nice season for us. Maybe a 65-point season is in the cards for him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, let's see what he can do, not against Carter Hutton, but for sure, a nice start for Bjorkstrand, nice start for Laine. Like, everyone's getting Voracek. All the people we were excited about in the preseason, the answer was any of the above would have been someone good to stream, at least for this first game. Texier got a goal. Max Domi in his first game in a while, 1 goal and 2 assists so far. Boone Jenner got in on it. Cole Sillinger, everyone on the team. Roslovic, everyone's getting a point. Okay, let's end the show with a couple late-breaking news injuries that we're just learning about as we're recording.
All right. So, obviously we're going to have a lot more information as things go on. So we'll try and follow up on Twitter.
Something banged again.
Dang.
Are you
okay? Sorry. Yeah. So we've got some stuff going on here that's worth keeping an eye on. Obviously, we'll have more updates as we continue, through tomorrow and get some updates. So watch out on Twitter at Keeping Karlsson and at Short Shifts KK. We'll try to keep you informed. But it looks like Braden Holtby has left the game between Dallas and the Rangers, and Khudobin is in. So that might mean that, we were surprised maybe to see Holtby get the start here, but it might be Khudobin moving forward for the next little while, and maybe Jake Ettinger gets pulled back up. We also saw Mrazek leave right at the end of the second period. So that's another goalie tandem that if it suddenly becomes a clear one and backup type situation, I think that's going to be something to watch out for.
Yeah, and the Leafs, by the way, starting to come back in this game versus the Sens. It was 3-0 when we started recording. Now it's 3-2 with Jack Campbell has stopped all 9 shots that he's faced after Mrazek left. So, yeah, right now, anyone who drafted Campbell, who obviously he fell in drafts because we expect to be a tandem with Mrazek right now. I mean, you obviously don't want to be like a bad person, be wishing ill on Mrazek, but if you have Campbell on your team, you're like, take your time, Mrazek. You just want to make sure you come back at 100%. And don't forget, also last year, Mrazek missed a bunch of time for Carolina. So this is a situation that might not be great for the Leafs, but definitely could be good for Jack Campbell fantasy managers. Man, what a crazy night. I'm excited to go and watch the rest of these games. This felt like a whirlwind. I can't believe the show's almost over. I feel like there's so much more to talk about, but I guess that's what Brian and I are going to do on Sunday when we'll have more time to really breathe it all in and talk about the first week of NHL action.
Absolutely. It has been totally wild. It is a completely different animal recording in season. We've got games actively going on as we record. We've got so much more news to discuss. It's not just a bunch of speculation. That's what makes this time of season so great is we can stop wondering a little bit and we can start knowing a little bit. And I really enjoy that aspect of it. So thanks everybody who is tuning in. Thank you as always for downloading and listening to our show. We so appreciate it. Please consider becoming a patron of the show. Check out keepingkarlsson.com/patron. We would love to have you. Our Discord is just buzzing. We've got our Discord zebras who have just done such a fantastic job making it a really useful and interesting place. It is crazy, all of the innovation that we see going on in there. So thanks especially to Kevin Hebert, Jeremy Versillo, John Newhold for all the great work they're doing there. It's been really fun. Elon, thanks so much for joining us on the show tonight. I hope you had a good time.
I had a great time, and I have one last thing I want to throw out before I leave. I've got a new, one last thing I want to say before I leave. watch out for this William Nylander season, okay? Like, this guy already has 1 goal and assist today. Both of these goals by the Leafs late in the game. You know, he got one of them, assisted on the other. He also scored in the first game versus Montreal. 5 shots in that first game. He's got 6 shots today and counting. We saw Nylander really break out in the playoffs last year. He was like one of the best players on the team, and now he's starting this year super hot. We've never seen Nylander have that huge, like, 70-plus point season that we expected him to be able to put up when he signed that big contract. This might just be the one. He's looking really good so far. And in fantasy, when you're multi-category leagues with shots on goal counted, woo, I'm definitely liking 11 shots through 2 games.
Absolutely. Yeah. Really cool to see. Best of luck. Hope that continues. Really enjoying just this. This is terrible. Let me try one more time.
Yeah, you could even like say good for him, whatever, and then say your outro.
Get to the outro. Yep, there doesn't need to be any more said. Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many more players that we're going to get to see do this kind of great, exciting stuff and maybe start to break out the season. Elon, this has been awesome, but we got to bring the show to a close. Thank you, everybody, as always. Sorry. Because I think I already said that, but thanks for joining us. And until we see you next time, play smart and keep your shifts short.
Wait. There's one more play. No, I'm just kidding.
You had me going there, man. I absolutely thought we were going to jump into it again.
Let's go, man. 4-4 between, man, we could keep, how about for the YouTube crowd? How about Sergei Bobrovsky not having the best game against the Penguins?
Yeah, all of the night owners are salivating.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. Owen Tippett with an assist just recently. I know we talked about him being on that second line. He's going to produce. Aaron Ekblad 2 goals.
I'm loving this Crosby free Jeff Carter. I know it's not going to last, but a goal, assist, 6 shots today.
Yeah, wow. But yes, even when Crosby's back, he could still stick on the top power play and center the other line in the top 6. So
yeah, I think he's worth hanging on to. Saros not so great. Seattle's bringing the heat today. Seattle should not be allowed to score unless it is Eberle and McCann.
Oh, come on. Give me a Jaden Schwartz. I'm just bringing it up now. Any Jaden? No Jaden.
No Jaden. Sorry.
He was probably on the ice for this McCann power play goal.
It was an all Alex goal between Wenberg and Barre Boulet, this last one.
Oh, Barre Boulet already in the roster.
And Ekblad with 2 goals in 2 minutes in that Florida game.
Also interesting to see Matt Duchene getting the power play assists. We predicted the potential.
Yes.
Duchene. You have him?
Yeah, I picked him up. I was getting I spent some fab on him because I don't know what I'm going to spend my fab on, but I was getting some looks for spending fab on someone that I myself dropped. But Brian went and talked about him on the show, and I've been talking to Brian Baston from On the Forecheck about him, and I was like, I got to go grab him back.
Man, so exciting. William Nylander, he's very good. Okay, I guess now that this becomes less exciting. Okay, I'm not liking Jaden Schwartz, by the way. So far, he has only no shots in this game even. And I'm looking for someone to stream out in Cupful, so but I guess I'm not ready to drop Jaden Schwartz just yet. But I got to stream someone out at some point. I'm sitting here with a team that's too good.
That was my problem last year. And then I did some studs, and I went for studs and duds this season. Part of my idea, no offense to Dave, but my idea there was, if we spend more money, there'll be fewer opportunities for like crazy off the script Dave stuff. So we definitely, and because last year I really felt like, because I saved and waited, but then like you, I kind of ended up with no real good streaming spots. So I definitely have some stinkers on my lineup right now. Yeah, and the injuries have certainly helped too. So
the other person I'm a little bit worried about, but obviously it's too early, but Tyson Barrie didn't have the most amazing first game, and I put a lot of money onto him, and he got like no points and only like a shot, and it was like all the Darnell Nurse show.
It was the Nurse show. So yeah, I kind of was worried it would go the other way there. I faded Nurse, and not like faded, but I was with Brian that, he's unlikely.
Well, Brian's a convert now. He has Nurse in his Cupful league, and he's like, wow, it's so fun having this guy. After being an anti-Nurse for like 3 years.
Right. Like he won't be able to repeat it, but I still picked him up.
Man, I feel like, I wish I did do studs and duds more. I wish I could just like not have whatever, like, I wish I could not have Dustin Brown and Andre Palat and then exchange them for like some $20 player that I could have gotten instead, and then just like a $1 guy. Like I think that would have probably been the better way to go.
Wow, but it sucks when your stud gets COVID to start the year. So,
is that McKinnon?
Yeah.
So are you not winning your matchup right now?
No, I'm in a real dogfight with Dustin the King Uh, I think I'm slightly ahead right now.
Match is telling me to calm down on Barry. I know. I'm not dropping him. Just wish he would have had a better game. That's all. And I was on Twitter last night also. I just searched for Barry and was watching him. There's like people insulting him and saying that he sucks, just streaming down. Everyone was hating on him.
Twitter is a hellhole. Like if you actually get into the commentary from like people who don't have to defend what they're saying, like to an audience.
But I still like
it's really grim.
Yeah, but you could get the vibe. Like, like I'll bet you like, if you look up Barkov right now, it's all like Barkov's a beast, Barkov's the best.
Oh, sure.
And then you look up Barry and it's like this guy's trash. The Oilers blew it big time by signing him to this contract.
I had, a column on TweetDeck dedicated to Marner to try and figure out if he was going to be in or out. And the Marner discourse was very interesting because it's so split. Like it's all, well, he's getting paid too much. Well, he's really elite. Well, all these contracts are coming in and they're not getting paid as much as him, blah, 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 blah. So it's kind of interesting.
The Leafs Twitter is the worst of all of them. Like people were losing their minds because they waived, what's this guy's name? Adam Brooks. And they were like, oh no, we waived Adam Brooks and then they got like some like center injury. I don't know. And then people just like get so upset. And yeah, there's always still complaining about the contracts of Nylander and Marner, but Nylander definitely earning it now, looking really good. All right, Lewis, this has been a blast. I'm going to edit this together. It's going to be such a tight show. So
all right, I'm working on cleaning my part up and I will send it to you shortly.
Okay, maybe also just keep the original just in case you accidentally like muted something. But okay, wait, first of all, let me say goodbye to the people on the live show. Thanks so much for watching. Matthew, I'm going to message you. We're going to talk in a second. And see you all on Sunday. Bye.
Bye.